Hi, welcome to Kiki's Blue House. I'm outside in my garden today. As you can see, it's under construction still. But I wanted to show you something that I have been working on recently, and it's a stone garden right here behind me. Let me turn this around so you can see it. So here is the beginning of my stone crop, or my rock garden. I'm gonna have to work on arranging the stones and adding more succulents, maybe a couple of cacti in there. That would be really cool. Let me show you how I got these rocks. So when we started gardening, we realized really soon that our soil, another word for dirt, has an awful lot of rocks in it. So that really isn't the best thing to work with. So we decided to build this thing right here. It's a frame with chicken wire to make a screen. What we do is, you take the dirt and you shovel it on the screen. And then we shake the screen, or hit it with the shovel. And you see all the soil goes through, and then on top, the rocks are left. So we make a pile of the rocks. Doing that with all the soil until we've gotten all the rocks out. Let me show you up close. So here I'm going to take this shovel, get a good shovel full of soil, dump it on the screen, and then shake it. And do you see how the soil goes right through the small openings? But the rocks, they can't fit through that. They're too big. So if they're small enough to go through, they're okay. But if they're too big, then we put that in the pile. So when we were doing that, we realized that we had so many rocks. I decided we needed to do something creative with them. We couldn't just throw them away. So that's when I got the idea to make this rock crop. And that's when I found that there are certain plants that grow really well in a rock clump, like these succulents right here and here. These are called chicks and hens. There's a little teeny baby one right there. Then these are called lamb's ears, and they're furry, they're fuzzy, they feel so good. And then these cool plants right here are called lupine. When they grow up, they'll look like this. Hopefully be colors of pink and blue and purple and just really beautiful, beautiful plants. But right now I'm waiting for them to grow bigger because they're too small right now. But anyhow, that's my rock crop and that's my story. Well, you heard my rock crop story. Now I'm going to share a story with you about the lupine lady. This book was given to me a long time ago by a dear friend of mine named Emily, whose children, Marin, Fiona, and Ronan, all were in my care in one way or another at some point in their lives. They're very dear to me, and this story is very dear to me as well, so let's read it. Miss Rumphius. Story and pictures by Barbara Cooney. And there's the cover. Here we have some lupine. Do you see the colors? These are the colors that I was talking about. See? What color is that? Blue. And the small one, pink. And then right here is a purple one. I'm hoping that I get to see these colors when my little baby plants bloom and these big, beautiful flowers come out of them. Be exciting to see. Now let's hear about the lupine lady. The lupine lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The lupine lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice, who lived on a city by the sea. From the front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling mast of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Do you see the ships in the ocean? And all the city and the businesses. And there's Alice. Now he worked at the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. There's his shop, and there's Alice. Do you see her painting the sky? What color is she painting it? Blue with white clouds. Very beautiful. And those are figureheads. And those are the Indians. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to stories of far-away places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places. And when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing that you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework. And pretty soon, she was grown up. There she is on her grandfather's knee listening to his stories. See the cat? Then, my great-aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things that she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city far from the sea and the salt air. There, she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. There she is. Do you see her helping the children? And look at that girl has her dog in the library. That's silly. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite. Isle is another word for island." Look at, there she is, enjoying the beautiful flowers in the middle of winter. That's lovely. So, Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on long beaches, picking up beautiful shells. One day, she met the Baparaja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Baparaja's wife. The Baparaja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Baparaja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. There's her walking on the beach. My great-aunt Miss Alice Rumphius climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping. And everywhere she made friends that she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters. And there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I certainly have seen faraway places, maybe it is time to find my place by the sea. And it was, and she did. There she is, getting off that camel. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water. And she saw it set in glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house. And she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. But there is still one more thing I have to do, she said. I have to do something to make the world more beautiful. But what? The world is already pretty nice, she thought, looking out over the ocean. What a sweet house, huh? Do you see her small garden with stones? Mine's not quite as nice, but I'll get there. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. Lupines, said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. I have always loved lupines the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could have more flowers next year. But she was not able to. Do you see her in bed? It's difficult when you're stuck in and you can't go out and do what you want. But sometimes that's what happens to us for all different kinds of circumstances, right? This too shall pass. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon, she started to go up and over the hill where she had not been in a long while. I don't believe my eyes, she cried when she got to the top. For there, on the other side of the hill, was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupines. It was the wind, she said as she knelt in delight. It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped. Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. What do you think it was? I bet you know. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupine seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands, sowing lupines. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the county lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt at all anymore. Now some people called her that crazy old lady. The next spring there were lupines everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third, the most difficult thing of all. My great-aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupines. Now they call her a lupine lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted fields of lupines. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that? I ask. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. Sweet. But I do not yet know what that can be. See her? I'm sure Alice one day will figure out what she's going to do to make the world a more beautiful place. I hope you do too. But just so you know, I think the world is already a beautiful place for having you in it. I'm glad that you're my friend, and I'm glad that you came to Kiki's Blue House to see my stone crop and to hear this beautiful story. Thank you. It's wonderful spending this time with you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye from Kiki's Blue House. See you next time. Okay, and out.